Good morning. It is only 8 degrees at 9 a.m. Thanks for starting your morning with us here on Daybreak and for joining us here on our streaming channel, WGRZ Plus. We are issuing a weather impact alert for today, and it is just nasty out there if you are in the lake effect snow band. Right now you're looking at Silver Creek, which actually is pretty clear, and the thruway there is looking just fine. But you see the radar on the left-hand side of the screen, and that lake effect snow band in southern Erie County and northern Chautauqua and Cattaraugus counties. It will make its way back up into Buffalo later today, though, and we'll get a weather update with Patrick coming up in just a few. Travel advisories that are still in effect right now for several counties in western New York include Erie, Wyoming, and Genesee County. There are also travel advisories for the village of Fredonia and the city of Dunkirk. Again, you're urged to stay off the road and not drive if you don't have to. And here's why the advisories were issued. Take a look at this video near the Camp Road exit in Hamburg this morning. It was near whiteout conditions there. And you can, just see the flashing lights of the plows and the cars behind it that were following. But it was not safe to drive in many areas this morning. Patrick can attest to that, as he said it was one of the worst drives that he's ever had into work at 2 o'clock this morning. But Patrick and Lance are following everything as far as weather and traffic, and Natalie is out in Orchard Park this morning, one of the places that has gotten a lot of snow. So we do want to begin with Natalie out there. And Natalie, what have you been seeing?
Well, Melissa, now the issue is not necessarily snow falling, because there isn't any snow falling from the sky, but you might be able to even tell. It is the wind out here. It is brutal. It's very, very strong wind, and it is blowing the snow all over the place. And so I can really imagine that if you're a driver out here in Orchard Park, especially on some of those wide expanses where there aren't a lot of buildings, it can go from being completely clear to being white out very quickly. So if you are out on the roads today, you're going to want to make sure that you are paying extra close attention and making sure that you're, not getting too comfortable out there on the roads, because as we all know, things can change very quickly. Now, I will say, I was chatting with some of the people inside of Tim Hortons this morning, and they were saying that their drive into work this morning was very, very bad. They were having really, really poor visibility as they were trying to get to work today. And we had a similar situation as we were trying to get out here to Orchard Park, that at 4:30 about a.m., you could see maybe 10 feet in front of you once we hit the West Seneca exit. So again, as that lake effect band, if it does drift up, you're going to want to be more careful. We are going to take a look at the Silver Creek camera, and Melissa, you said that it's actually looking pretty clear, which is a good sign, and hopefully gives the plows plenty of time to get through, get those roads clear, so that when and if that band moves back up, we're kind of able to deal with that a little bit. Now, speaking about plows, let's talk about Hamburg, because Hamburg, as Patrick was saying, got hit pretty hard this morning. They actually have an app where you can track the plows. Now, this is not 100% accurate. They use some sort of geo-tracking that, they can kind of follow the plows, but at a certain point it might go in and out with signal and things like that. But it could be a good tool to use if you have to travel around Hamburg today, if you live in Hamburg and you might not be able to get out of your driveway, things like that. So you might want to check that out. City of Buffalo also has one as well. So if that snow band does move back up into the city, that could also be a helpful tool for you to use at home if you do need to do any of that necessary travel today. But again, Erie County is under that travel advisory, so if you don't have to go out, I would say absolutely stay home, and the county is urging you to stay home as well. Stay off the roads, get out of the way so that the plows can do their job, and that hopefully this will all kind of let up tomorrow. We can all get back to work and back to our daily lives. But Melissa, it's cold and the wind is blowing. That's kind of your update for today.
Yeah, nothing we can't handle for sure, but lots of schools closed today, even in the north towns, Amherst, Sweet Home, Williamsville, Clarence, all because teachers who do live in the south towns who need to get up north probably can't do that, and also the temperatures. We're at 8 degrees, wind chill sub-zero when the wind is blowing. So lots of reasons that the kids have off yet again today, one snow day last week and then today. But Natalie, you were talking about the Regents exams that are scheduled for today. High schoolers will have to have those rescheduled.
Yeah, so it's the living environment exam, the chemistry exam, and the English language arts exam. Those are going to be rescheduled for later in the week. And that's a statewide situation because you can't have a school in the North Towns take the Regents exams but not have Orchard Park takes that Regents exam. So those have been rescheduled for later in the week. And if you are interested in when those are coming up, I'm sure that the schools will be releasing more information on that as it comes.
Yeah, kids will have more days to study for it. Very good. Natalie, thank you for that live report and for being out there in the cold all morning long. We want to take a live look right now at the Skyway. You can see that that truck is still blocking it off. It is still closed. It was closed yesterday because of the high winds, and all that snow created low visibility and made it just too dangerous to drive across the Skyway. Mayor Sean Ryan's office says they will be reevaluating when it can open and will update us later today. But right now, let's check in with Lance Mellon and the NFTA to find out what is happening across other roads in Western New York. Good morning, Lance.
Hey, good morning, Melissa. Well, we've been scanning really the same cameras all morning where that snow band has been pretty consistent through Chautauqua County, southern Erie County, and really stretching inland, of course. We've had a lot of accidents on our secondary roads. And just a quick look at our current conditions, like you guys have mentioned Silver Creek a couple of times where, you know, it's manageable. Folks are getting through. We haven't had any accidents through Silver Creek, but you can see the wind is starting to pick up and we are starting to see visibility become reduced through that section of the 90 and Dunkirk as well in a travel advisory. The whole city this morning, and you know, you can see a good amount of pavement. Folks are traveling slow, taking it easy. This is our current view right at the Dunkirk exit, and even in Ripley I'm starting to see some maybe fluffier snowflakes fall down right near the state line where you know, plows have been going through this stretch from the state line all the way up towards Blaisdell all morning. So you know, folks have been taking it easy, watching their speeds, which is a good idea. And you know what, I want to say those travel advisories were a good idea. We have lower volume, of course, because of the schools being closed, but I think a lot of folks really took that information and maybe delayed some of their unnecessary traveling today because volume has been no problem. And I think it's saved actually a lot of accidents from occurring in that snow band.
All right, very good. That's good to hear, Lance, that the traffic hasn't been too much of an issue today. Thanks for those live reports. And now we do want to check in with Patrick. And yeah, we are seeing the typical lake effect snowstorm, Patrick, but tomorrow everyone's going to be getting some of the snow again, right?
Yeah, and the lake effect snow is coming back. It's going to be back into Buffalo, it looks like, by later today, tonight. This is a photo taken from North Tonawanda where the skies are clear. This was this morning, but as you look to the south, you can see that lake effect cloud band situated over the South Towns. But yeah, farther to the north, you had clear skies after you got your snow yesterday. All right, in terms of snowfall, Eden came in at 18.5 inches. I would say at my house, we probably got about 16 inches of snow. And that was pretty much starting yesterday evening and overnight into this morning. A foot in West Falls, Blaisdell 11 inches, Youngstown 6.5, and North Tonawanda got 6 inches. And of course, that mostly fell yesterday. There are your current numbers. We are in the single digits. Some spots are even at 0. Your wind chills are 10 to 15 below 0. And those wind chills are going to stay cold all day long. Now we're beginning to see that lake effect band slowly edging northward again. So, whereas the South Towns had the heavy snow overnight, a little bit of a break, and now it's going to be coming back. And then this band of snow will lift back into Buffalo as well by later this afternoon and evening. This is the latest run of Future Look, and you can see that band of snow situated over the South Towns into the afternoon, could be become heavy again. However, the lake is really beginning to ice up, so that could limit snowfall intensity just a bit. And then here it comes. Later this afternoon, this evening, and tonight, that lake effect band is right over the city of Buffalo. It continues during the overnight where a couple of inches will fall. Then it lifts northbound, but as Melissa mentioned, more general snow for everyone tomorrow. 1 to 2, maybe up to 3 inches of snow tomorrow. But numbers will be much, much warmer. We're going to be close to 30 degrees. Today, our highs will be in the teens. There's the additional snow we could see today. Places like Hamburg, Angola, Silver Creek, Colden, another 4 to 7 inches, okay? And the wind chills staying very, very cold throughout the day today. Long range forecast, we're gonna see snow tomorrow, getting colder again Thursday, Friday, 13. That's it. High temperatures on Saturday, single digits. We're likely gonna have a weather impact alert for Friday, Saturday, just due to the cold. Sunday it stays cold, and then a chance there might be a big storm on Monday, Tuesday of next week that we would just kind of get swiped by. But that is something certainly to watch if it trends farther to the north. For the south towns in the southern tier, you can see we've got a weather impact for today. Very cold out there, and it looks like we've got lake effect snow showers continuing. It looks like Thursday and Friday drying out over the weekend.
And Patrick, real quickly, that lake effect snow band going back over Buffalo, it looked really ominous for later today. The radar does, but
Yeah.
you're saying it's not really going to drop more than a couple inches?
Right now we're thinking a couple, yeah, because by then the snow band should, you're right, it does look that way, but it should weaken a bit. But we'll see. You know, sometimes these bands do things that you don't quite predict. I mean, I would say we got a little bit more than expected overnight, so maybe this one is a little heavier for the city, but I think a couple of inches overnight tonight, that could affect the evening drive.
Okay, so starting in the evening and then going overnight?
But it's
I'm sorry, I'm not.
well, let's see, I've given this forecast 49 times today.
Just one more time. So later this afternoon into the evening,
I would
it's
say,
going to go back up into the city and it's going to stick around overnight?
Overnight, and then it should fizzle by the wee hours of the morning.
Okay, and
but
then
that
the
is
general snowfly.
something we're certainly going to watch. I mean, think about yesterday. We were thinking the city of Buffalo would get, 6 to 7 inches of snow. We got 1.
Yeah.
Because it just moved through so quickly, and then it settled where we thought it would. But these bands, man, they're very tricky to forecast exact locations, intensity, and sometimes you can get thrown a curveball. Not to say that this was the case here, but the snowfall intensity should be a little less by the time it gets to Buffalo.
I feel like we got the music like the Golden Globes or the Oscars.
Wait,
play the music and they'll go off.
To my family, to my wife, I love you. Thank you to the Academy. Okay.
We'll be back after this. Welcome back now to the other major story that we are following. The sports world still shocked after the Bills announced the firing of head coach Sean McDermott. It happened 24 hours ago, when we were here on the air. We were both pretty shocked by it.
But we weren't the only ones. I mean, I think the coach was shocked.
I want to know if he knew it was coming.
So according to Tom Pelissero, they were at the building yesterday. Sean was called into a meeting at like 8, and then the meeting lasted like 7 minutes. And he left the meeting, and that's when he had been notified that he was fired. Wow. Yeah.
And do they clean out his office for him?
I don't know. How does that? I don't.
Oh my gosh! And then for him to have to call his wife, and what kind of conversation is he having with Josh Allen? How much of a role did Josh Allen have in all of this? I know that they had a good relationship.
And what's he going to say when he does eventually speak this week? Is he going to defend the decision to fire? I mean, it's just going to be interesting. But yeah, I gotta believe he was notified. I don't know.
Right. So we asked a lot of people I put on social media, on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, to ask for your opinions about what you think about all of this. I have never had a post that's had so many comments. More than 1,200 comments. And 90% of them, 95% of them were all saying this should not have been, Sean McDermott should not have had to take the fall for this. This was not his fault. Then most of you also said that Bean should also go, or they fired the wrong guy. It shouldn't have been McDermott. Keep him. Bean should have gone, because Bean is the one who creates the roster, makes those moves, and
but you got
McDermott was coaching with what he was given.
But you got a sense that there might have been something going on, because you remember these press conferences recently with Coach McDermott. He kept referring to a player on the Jaguars. What's his name? Somebody help me. There was a player that on the Jaguars that McDermott kept complimenting. It's because it's a player that they went and got on the trade deadline. And basically what he was saying was, Bean, why didn't we go out and do something like this? What's his name? Anyway, so there was signs that there might have been a little bit of a rift between those two.
Wow. And Bean and McDermott, they were like peas and carrots. They really got along for so many years. Bean coming after McDermott, but bringing him in because...
Funny, beans and carrots, and he's a bean. Okay, never mind. I was thinking about the peas and carrots. That was intriguing.
And
beans, peas and carrots. Okay, continue. Continue.
This has been your MO all day today.
I'm on like 2 hours of sleep, so.
Okay, you're forgiven. Shall we talk more about it, though, and hear what others have to say about Sean McDermott's firing? Okay, it was, a brutal playoff exit also.
Right.
Bills Mafia wanted to say thank you, though, to the man who helped to turn the franchise around. And so we did go out and speak with some fans yesterday who were very uneasy and torn about this. Take a look.
Hopefully they're gonna pick a good coach. It's gonna pick the team up and keep it rolling. It's been rolling good all along, I feel. I don't think that there was any one person to blame on any of these losses. It was just a whole team effort and a whole team loss, and that's how you got to look at it.
I'm kind of surprised, a little upset about it. Kind of probably has to be done. It's one of those days, sad day in Buffalo.
Yeah, it is a sad day, and it's going to make the offseason even more sad, as if the ending of this season wasn't bad enough with the controversial catch versus interception, which kind of made Bills fans, very, very upset. No one's talking about that anymore. Now they're only talking about Sean McDermott, but now it just stings, and it feels dirty for a lot of Bills fans. And so now it's just ruminating on what happened and why he had to be fired over all of this. Yes, they haven't gotten to the Super Bowl, but his record of wins here in Western New York and taking to the team to the playoffs every year since he's, or having a winning record, or winning season every year since he's been here in so many playoff runs, it just is still shocking to me.
But the one thing you could say, though, is you look at New England. They have a new coach, new quarterback. They're likely going to get to the Super Bowl in year 2. We had a new coach, new quarterback, and it's year 8. And maybe it was just time for a fresh change.
While Josh is still in
his prime. Right.
Interesting.
Remember being in your prime? God, those were good years.
Those were the days.
Those were the days.
All right, so here's what former head coach Sean McDermott had to say about his firing. He sent this statement to the NFL Network. He said, "For nearly a decade, I've had the opportunity to wake up every morning as the head coach of the Buffalo Bills, which has truly been a gift. I want to express my sincere gratitude and appreciation to the Pegula family and to the Buffalo Bills organization and to the fans for allowing me to live out the dream of being a head coach in the NFL in this incredibly special place." He continued that God gave me and my family an incredible opportunity, one that we will cherish for the rest of our lives. Yet we know that he has a plan. Thank you for allowing me to serve as your head coach. Speaking of Pegulas, did you see what Jessie Pegula did?
No.
So she just played in the Australian Open and wrote on a camera lens, and it said that was a catch with a little, like a frowny face on it. And the announcers had no idea what she was talking about. And yes, she wrote that was a catch. So referring to the final play.
Well, yeah, that just so many futures were changed because of that play call. Think about it. If I was done right, coach, we still have a coach, right? Because of that play would have happened, we would have likely kicked a field goal to win. Okay, we can't keep reliving this.
I don't want to. It's too depressing.
It is. Not as bad as 13 seconds, but not far.
It's ranked right up there with me with 13 seconds.
Yeah. But that game was a game that you played exceptionally well.
Yes.
And you should have won.
Right.
This is a game where we had 5 turnovers. We had no business winning with that many turnovers.
But they were still in it.
They were. They could have, yeah.
All right, well, our Sports Talk Live crew talked about possible replacements for Sean McDermott, and here's what they had to say.
How much of a shot does Brady have here?
Well, he certainly has a lot of interest around the league for a second straight year. Just completed a few interviews with other teams for their head coaching vacancies. And what do we know about this? The Bills are constantly looking for someone to link with Josh Allen that Josh Allen likes. That's why Ken Dorsey was promoted. That's why Joe Brady was promoted to offensive coordinator. So naturally, if the relationship between Brady and Allen is as good as maybe we think, or it could be, then maybe it's natural just to promote him and have him lead. This makes a lot more sense to me than bringing Joe Brady as an elevated thing within in-house here. I'm still also not sold. Dave's did a very good job his first year with Daniel Jones and making things work. I think he did some nice work with Jackson Dart, but part of the reason that he got fired from the Giants was that team's ability to blow double-digit leads this season, and there were just some also in-game things that Brian Daboll was not very good at. And so as many good things as he did as the Bills' offensive coordinator with Josh Allen and what he did with the quarterbacks in New York, I'm not saying this would be a bad thing, but I also think that there are other options, again, proven options out there that I think would maybe be a better option if you're going to try to find someone to be better than Sean McDermott.
What about a big established championship caliber name? For example, a Mike Tomlin who has come up today, whether he coaches or not this season very much remains to be seen. Bill Belichick, right? A lot of speculation to that effect. It would seem, given Beane's positioning on this, that like a guy like Belichick, John's going to want complete and total control, right? I'm not sure Beane is going to want to give up that ground since he's worked so hard to gain it with this new title now.
100%. I think Vic mentioned it earlier. Anyone who has Super Bowl experience, the big name, those are the guys that as head coaches take a lot of the responsibility from what would be a general manager. And now Brandon Beane has that, and I don't think that he's going to give that up for someone, whether it be Mike McCarthy or it be Mike Tomlin or Bill Belichick.
Bill Belichick.
I can't imagine that guy coming to this town.
No.
Just not
No.
here.
And everything's gotten really weird with him lately. I mean,
Other than the girlfriends?
the girlfriend, and then, it just is the way he dresses. I mean, he like shows up in meetings and he's got like rips in his shirt. And that's not a reason you don't.
Right. You need to find
Sorry,
someone
that's
who's
irrelevant. Who cares what
We
he's
can't hire him because of the rips in his shirt, says the guy with smudges all over his jacket.
Okay, because there's schmutz on the side of your car. We all know this. You walk against your car, you get that schmutz on your suit.
I know.
Jeez.
Yeah, he's just not. I can't imagine him being a good fit for Buffalo.
I don't either.
Sean McDermott felt like a Buffalo guy.
Absolutely.
And really adored this city. And so Rex Ryan, I mean, remember him? He was not a good fit for this city either.
And it started out, remember the tandem bike with him and his brother? Yeah. That was so bizarre.
It was bizarre.
Yeah. And then his first line was, "We're going to build a bully." Remember that? And it was like, okay. Anyway, I have no idea who the right replacement is. But it's with, how many job openings are there? 8, 9?
Yeah.
There's not going to be a whole lot to choose from soon.
But the talk is that the best will come here because they want to play.
Yes,
they want to win a Super Bowl and they want to have Josh Allen.
Do you want to go coach in Atlanta or do you want to coach Josh Allen in the Buffalo Bills?
Right.
Right. So I think it's going to be the most coveted job of all of them.
Yeah.
I would think.
All right. Stay with us. We'll have much more coming. You did it again.
Because I heard something. Sorry.
It's kind of tough being a Buffalo sports fan right now because, everything that's happening with the Bills, and then also the Bandits lost over the weekend, and the Sabres have now lost 2 in a row.
But Carolina's one of the best teams in the league, and they were in the game. They never win in Carolina, so their goalie was insane.
They only lost 2-1. That goalie was making saves that looked like AI saves.
Right.
Like, how was he doing this? Rasmus Dahlin was the lone goal scorer for the Blue and Gold. Sabres holding on to the second wildcard spot just by a thread, with Toronto just a point behind them. So many games left, though.
Right.
But the Sabres have a quick turnaround. They are playing tonight in Nashville at 8 p.m. and then a few more games on the road. Fun to watch, though. They really are doing quite well. And, quite well. They've won 16 of 18 their last 19 games.
I'd call that quite well.
Yeah, 16 out of the last 19 games they've won. So they're doing really well, and hopefully they can give Buffalo sports fans something to root for. The Bandits play again this weekend, but they're not doing very well.
What's their record?
2-3, I believe. 3-3. Thank you, Mike. They're 3-3, but they're three-peat champions for the NLL. So. Fans were hoping that they would be a 4-peat, and it's just not looking that way right now. So a lot of Bandit season left, though, too. All right, following McDermott's firing, by the way. Oh, do we have time for this? Fans showing their appreciation and companies showing their appreciation, like 26 shirts. But minutes after this was announced, Del Reed in 26 shirts came out with this design that simply says, "Thank you, Coach McDermott." And so $8 from every shirt or sweatshirt sold goes to a charity close to Sean McDermott's heart, which is a skin cancer foundation. And so you'll see a lot of people wearing that shirt, I'm sure. It's crazy. On social media, all you can do is just, when you scroll, all you're seeing is just tributes to, you know, the end of this Bill season that just is so sad, the loss of McDermott, the confusion, and everyone just kind of wanting answers. We don't know yet when we're going to hear from Brandon Beane or Josh Allen.
Well, last year they lost on a Sunday. Brandon spoke on a Thursday.
How do you remember that?
Because I remember the important things.
Ask him his anniversary, though. He has no idea.
Sometime in August. No, I heard that. I heard that recently. I would have never remembered that, but I did hear that.
So the game was on Saturday, so maybe on Wednesday we'll hear from Beane. But after all of this, could be even longer. I don't know. I also want to hear what Josh Allen has to say.
Me
He's
too.
been pretty quiet about everything. So we will discuss it all tomorrow, which will it be a weather impact alert day? Yes or no?
No, not at this point.
Okay. Bye, everybody.
Nice.